Good morning, my friends, and welcome to the 10-Minute Book Talk, where three best-selling authors talk all things bookish with you for 10 short and sweet minutes every week. I'm your host today, Rachel Linden, and I am joined by my wonderful co-hostesses, Marie Bostwick and Katherine Reay. And this is one I love when we get to do this. Katherine is not just a co-host. Today, she is actually our guest because we are celebrating the release of her wonderful new 1970s historical caper, the art caper, The English Masterpiece. So, Katherine, we're so excited to get to celebrate this. We were in on this book, like walking the sands in on the coast of Washington, talking about the germ of an idea of this book. We helped you think about this idea, and we're really excited that now it's a beautiful, real, exciting, wonderful book that readers can hold in their hands. So tell us about this really fun story.
Okay, so this is the story of Lily Summers, and she is the assistant curator, or assistant keeper, as you call her in Great Britain, of the Tate Gallery's Modern Collection, 1973
Love the
London.
Tate.
2 weeks after Picasso's death. So museums around the globe are working to honor Picasso quickly, get that big commemorative show, capture the world's, sort of view, commemorating the most famous artist of all time. And they put together a show. Lily, on opening day, walks up to a painting, looks at it, and says, "That's a forgery." And international scandal ensues, and she better figure out who's behind the forgery before she's framed for the crime. So that is the English Master.
I literally helped plan this book, and I got chills when you said the description. Woo!
Oh. I feel like this is our collective baby, but it's really you. I mean, we got to be there, like in the birthing room in a way. So we were just standing by, we were the assistants, but this is such a brilliant concept. So tell us, where did that first germ of the idea come from for this book?
Okay, so we've been talking about it. 2 years ago, we three were on a beach together, and I wanted to leave spies behind because, in a previous interview, we were just talking to an author who said, it's such a creative process and every book is different and you're a creator. And I wanted to try something new. And so we talked about what area could suspense live within, like a spy. And Rachel had just read a fascinating on a forger. And I got this idea of, a forger is very much like a spy. Duplicity, what you see is not what you get. And so I just started to run with that. And it sort of became this alternate look at that duality that a spy offers you. But now I get to stick it in that candy-colored, fabulous world of art and music and London in the 1970s. And so that's where it came from.
Yeah. So fun. So fun. I am curious because I know you and I know that you are quite a researcher. You do meticulous research. You enjoy the research process. So what did research look like for this book and what was the best part?
So research for this book, a lot of reading in forgery and forgers, a lot of the technical aspects of painting. But then I also went to London and I interviewed the head of one of the syndicate insurance companies, a chairman of an insurance group that works with Lloyd's London, and I talked about insurance over Lloyd's 400-year history. And the reason that is important is when a crime happens, insurance is involved. But in the 1970s, art insurance wasn't what it is today. That happened in the 80s when the global recession was over and money came back into the market. So I was kind of learning about what the valuations of art was in the 1970s, and that was fascinating. And then another aspect I loved was the psychology of the forger. Forgers are fascinating people. Some are, I had one described as a Mr. Ripley with a paintbrush, because it wasn't necessarily his forgeries that were fabulous. It was his con man skills in getting some of the best museums in the world to buy what he told them were originals. So there were so many different aspects. Yeah.
I love that.
I love that. That's so interesting.
You know, it's funny. We were talking about, there was an interview we did earlier that talked about being so immersive, right? That we really do immerse ourselves in this world. And I love it that you're like, oh yes, I just happened to find a, you know, an art insurance person and blah, blah, blah. So I love that about you. I love that. So this is, you know, it's set in the 70s, which is not a time period we always see. And you also call it a caper. I do love a caper. So tell everybody a little more about that.
So I was trying to write spy stories, and there's not a lot of light and fun. And one of the inspirations for this book was How to Steal a Million. And I don't know if you all have watched that I think it's 1963 Audrey Hepburn, Peter O'Toole movie. It is a delicious caper with Christian Dior gowns galore.
Ooh.
But my point is that I wanted to bring, there are some serious notes to this story, of course, but I wanted to bring that light thread and those callbacks. So for instance, there is a certain blue-eyed actor who the world knows and is so famous, and he actually has a cameo with his own name in the book because a scene from one of his movies inspired a scene in the book, but then also I discovered that he actually was an art student at St. Martin's School of Art, where Lily works. At the time in 1973, he was there a couple of years earlier, that Lily is actually there. So what if she and this famous actor were actually friends? And so there's just these added elements of just fun that I had fun putting in the book. So really, it became a bit of a caper.
So, Katherine, I know you well, and I know that you write an excellent story, but you always write a story that isn't just technically excellent, it has deeper themes and meanings in it. And so I'm curious with this book, The English Masterpiece, what is it that you are hoping readers take away from your story?
Such a fun. So I think it actually comes down for this story to the title. Somebody asked me why, if it's a Picasso, is it not the title, The Spanish Masterpiece? Well, I'm not giving anything away. The forgery is made in London. It is an English masterpiece, but that's not the masterpieces that the title refers to. So Diana Gilden, Lily's boss, also has her own chapters in the story, and they both are first person, and these women are kind of exploring their past, and each are masterpieces. But whose masterpieces are they? And it's sort of as each woman comes to learn how she has been defined and who has defined her, what is she going to do with that information? So it's in many ways a coming of age story or a turning point story or a self-definition ownership story. And I guess I hope readers, first and foremost, just immerse themselves in this world and love it. But then have that hope that if they too are not perhaps where they want to be, that's okay. What is that next turning point? What is that next dial, that takes them closer to the masterpiece that they truly are? So there you go.
Oh, I love that. I love that. All right, I'm going to ask you the last question that we ask everybody, and you know what it is. Katherine Reay, what is bringing you joy today?
Well, in about 48 hours, my 3 kids come into town for a wedding, not any of their wedding, but they're coming into town, and we don't get together all that often other than Christmas and Thanksgiving now. They're all adults off on their way. And this is really special, and I am super excited. So that is what's bringing me joy today.
That's a good reason
I love that.
That's
a great reason to be joyful. All right. Well, we are also joyful about your wonderful new book. Can you hold it up for us so we can see it?
There we go.
This is a great story. England, art forgery in the art world, 1970s, London. It's just wonderful. You're going to enjoy it. So buy a copy for yourself, buy a copy for a friend, because what do we do when we love a good book? We buy it for a friend and we share.
Friends.
We share it with our friends. So thank you so much, Katherine, for being with us. We're so excited to celebrate you and your wonderful new book. And thank you to everyone who has read, listened, or watched. We are excited that you were with us, and we invite you back next week for more 10-minute book talk fun. We'll see you next week.
See you then.
Bye.
Thank you.